Hello there and welcome back. Well, Beryl's going to do one of her favourite dishes for us right now.
Yes, this is Greek beef with steamed vegetables, which I absolutely love cooking. It's a very, very old recipe, but what I like about it is it's quite flavoursome. It has, to start with, we're putting stewing meat into the pan, and what I like about this too, and it's great for demonstrating, is that when you go to the party, instead of putting a little bit of margarine or butter or oil in with your stewing meat, all you do is drop your stewing meat straight into the pan, completely dry, give it a little bit of a stir. Now, if I had plenty of time up my sleeve, I'd probably put the lid on that and let it make its own juice. And that does definitely make your casserole taste better, there's no doubt about that. Better to not be cooking it in any oil. You can if you wish to put it in some olive oil, but I prefer to do it completely dry. And what I do after that's been cooking for a little bit, I show the people how it's made juice in the pan, which it actually does because the lid's been on top. And then I add some onion to that. Now you can have as much onion as you like. You might like it into big chunky pieces. Give that a bit of a stir around. Put the lid back on and let that cook for 2 or 3 minutes more. Once that has made its own juice, take the lid off, and then I add these ingredients, which are red wine, brown sugar, some sultanas, a little bit of garlic powder, salt and pepper. The red wine makes it yummy. Now, what's good about this recipe too is it looks a bit, not wishy-washy, but it doesn't look as rich as it becomes the longer it's been cooked. And proof is in the eating with this casserole, because if you cook this for about an hour and a half on top of your stove on extremely low with your vent closed, you have a yummy tasting meat. It's completely juicy, it doesn't dry out at all. And tender. And because you've got your vent closed and there's hardly any evaporation whatsoever, you don't have to keep adding liquid. In fact, most times I just thicken the casserole at the end. But what I'm going to do today is I'll move this across here and I'll get you to show the other one. Thanks. Bring that other one for me, please, David.
Sure.
So this is one that I have previously cooked, and this is called, this is just the Greek beef completely cooked. Well, it may well be, say, 15 minutes to go, because that's when I usually do my steamed vegetables. The advantage of the 5 litre plus the 6 litre casserole is that you have your large steamer which fits on both. Most people these days prefer to eat steamed vegetables than any other way, and this is just a little bit of a novel way of doing it. Instead of having all of your vegetables in lumps sitting around like so, I like to do layers at my parties, and when they've cooked in 15 minutes, they all cook almost at the same time. Put the hardest ones on the bottom. I generally do the carrots first, and then I like to do potatoes. Now, sometimes I have the potatoes cut smaller than this in little chip form. It's just a little bit different because you've got a different texture instead of mashed potato or great big pieces of potato. Sure. Then on top of that, I usually do my zucchini next. And if I had time, and once again, I'd layer those zucchinis all over that completely flat instead of just throwing them in like I'm doing so now.
Now, is this recipe on the website too, Beryl?
This is. This is called Greek beef. Steamed vegetables is optional. The Greek beef is lovely to have with rice. You can have it with fried rice or plain rice or noodles, but it's particularly delicious considering it hasn't got a huge amount of ingredients and it's so easy to cook. Okay, so what you've done then is you've got 3 layers of vegetables, and then I like to put my pumpkin on top of that.
That steamer holds a lot, doesn't it?
It's amazing, and that's another good thing with demonstrating. You show people exactly how many vegetables are going in there, and when you're dishing it up, people are amazed how tasty it is. I've found many people at parties who do not like pumpkin, and I'll just encourage them to try a bit of steamed pumpkin because it tastes completely different to mashed pumpkin. I love pumpkin anyway, but some people don't like it at all. But if it's steamed in a piece like that, much better for you, and it tastes nicer. So therefore, it just encourages people. They see this, it's easy, and that's it, finished. Put your lid back on top. What you have to do when you're steaming vegetables, if you've got a casserole or anything cooking underneath with liquid in it, you must bring it back to a boil instead of leaving it sit gently. Must come back to a boil. Once it comes back to the boil and you see the steam coming out between your casserole base and the steamer, you can then turn it down low. Once the steam has moved through the vegetables, you can actually lift that lid 50 times if you want to. It won't make any difference. But initially, if you put it onto your meat and your meat's sitting just simmering, you won't get the steamer working. So that, to me, 15 minutes, you've got 5 vegetables. Dish up your casserole vegetables with it. And the 5 litre, once again, has the lid that fits on about 6 or 7 other items. 6 litre, same thing. A lot of girls love the 5 litre because it's got the rounded bottom, and it's particularly popular for risottos. Like stirring in a basin, really nice effect.
Because it's nice and rounded, isn't it?
Almost like cooking in a basin. So the 5 litre I love, and I've found girls that have got a lot of Bessemer have added it to their collection and has become their favourite piece. It's just a nice chunky size. It looks effective, very popular with young people too because it's got a good look about it. And country kitchen, I mean, I like my 6 litre, but that's my preference, a little bit tiny, a little bit bigger.
You like it all,
pasta?
don't you?
I do. I just every
Now
piece.
this is quite unique because you've got the steamer on the top, and then you've got the Greek beef, and I love the idea that there's like red wine and sultanas and so forth that make up quite a different liquid that is then used to come right through your vegetables.
But no flavour through your vegetables, absolutely. Okay. Great when you've got vegetarians at your party because often they're thinking to themselves, well, I certainly don't want to have the taste of meat going through my vegetables, and I make sure that they actually taste the vegetable, eat it by itself, and they'll see once the steamed vegetables on top, the flavour gets locked inside, and any liquid that's coming from the bottom, be it French onion soup, whatever, you won't get any flavour in your vegetables from the casserole it's cooking, which is fantastic.
Yeah. And yet, if you wanted to dive into the whole lot, literally you've got yourself a full meal done in half an hour in one vessel.
Yes, and if you've got people coming in at different times, I just turn that off again, and when they walk in the door, turn on the casserole, it reheats the vegetables, taste as yummy as it did when you first cooked it. And it's also a good casserole for people that want to do things like that cake. The cake's fantastic. The upside down cake, it just has a little bit of a rounded bottom, looks a bit more like a steamed pudding. And I use the 5 litre for numerous, as I said before, pasta. It's effective for doing just boiling your rice if you want to use it for boiled rice. And spaghetti sauce, because you don't put any oil in with your meat. You just put your minced topside straight in the base and then add all of your other
ingredients. Because they can be a little bit oily, can't they?
That's right. Even if you buy a good expensive topside, it's still nice to not have to add any extra oil to it.
Well, I must say that the aromas are driving me crazy on this particular dish. Have a little look and see what it looks like at the end. And that would certainly grace anyone's dining table, wouldn't it? Fantastic looking dish.
All done in one pot, which is fantastic too, on one hot plate.
Now, remember, our deals are on the website. Whether you want to join as a distributor, whether you want to have a demonstration in your own home and have one of these wonderful women come and show you what Bessemer is all about and give you some tricks about recipes and so forth. All of the recipes are on the website, so please call the number that's on your screen right now if you'd like to have a demonstration, if you'd like to take advantage of some of the one-off deals we've got on purchasing right now, or if you would like recipes, please log on to bessemer.com.au. Greek beef with vegetables, fantastic. Thanks very much, Beryl.
Thank you, David.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back with more right after this.